Hi everyone! Today we'll be making a not so healthy dish, but it is so delicious. This is a Filipino dish called Chicharon Bulaklak. Chicharon Bulaklak is usually the pork ruffle or the pork ruffle fat. Since these are hard to come by where I live, we found these and we grabbed a bunch of them. And of course, since these are not healthy, try to limit yourself when you're eating this. So let's get started. Here are the ingredients for our dish. We are going to need some vinegar. I will be using a spicy vinegar in this case. You can use any type of vinegar you want. Fish sauce. Some water to boil our intestine. And I have a whole garlic crushed with skin on. It's up to you. You can leave the skin off. But I like having it there because it kind of protects it from burning. So here's the complete list of our ingredients. First thing we're going to do is we're going to clean our intestines. So usually I rub it with some salt and water. So we're just going to put in a bunch of salt there. So technically you're kind of like exfoliating that. So we're going to add a little water. And just rub it around. So for those that don't know what the pork ruffle looks like, it's basically the intestine. See how big that is? So it's a slab of it. So we're going to continue doing this for about 2 to 5 minutes. Rub it well, and then we're going to rinse it off by about 4 to 5 times so that there's no impurities or salt or anything else remain. So now we're going to be rinsing our. Now it's time to rinse. So just continue stirring everything around. Make sure it's nice and clean. And that should be it. You don't have to drain it because we're going to be slowly, we're going to boil it first before frying it. Now it's time to boil. So we're going to place all of these. As you notice, I'm not cutting it yet. I'm going to cut them later. Try to lay them flat and evenly. Turn on the stove. Set the heat to high. And we're going to add in our vinegar. I added about 1 cup of vinegar and about half a cup of water. Once this starts to simmer, we're going to lower our heat to medium and we're going to be slowly boiling this. So the purpose of this is we're going to be slowly cooking it. Now you see it's starting to boil a little. We're going to be adding in our crushed garlic. Now what we're going to do is, since this is in medium heat, we're going to let it simmer until the liquid is gone. And once the liquid is gone, we're going to be frying them. Traditionally, when this is made in the Philippines, they boil this in a pot full of water and then they deep fry it in oil. My way is different. I'm not using a lot of liquid, but I'm boiling it uncovered. Once the liquid has evaporated, we're going to be chopping the intestines and let it cook in its own fat, since you know this is very fatty. So we're not adding in oil. We're going to be using its own oil or its own fat to cook itself later. So that's why my version is different, because we're not going the traditional way. So we're going to let this cook for a bit until that's evaporated. Also, make sure you flip it every now and then to cook the other side. So we're going to be cooking this for about 20 to 30 minutes until the liquid is gone. Alright, it's been about 5 minutes, and as you see, our liquid's slowly reducing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to flip them around so that the other side will cook. Be careful when you're doing this. Again, just let it simmer there until all our liquid is gone. Alright, so Our liquid's almost gone. What we're gonna do now is, before we run out of liquid, we're gonna pull this out and cut them into into pieces. So we have a pork ruffle here. What we're gonna do is, using a tongue and a kitchen shear, just cut them into pieces. Alright, so as you can see, we chopped them into individual pieces. Doesn't have to be too small or too big, you know, just pretty much just cut them. Now we're gonna put it back into our mixture and let it completely reduce. And at the same time, we're gonna be adding in our fish sauce. Alright, so now we're gonna put it back into our liquid here. And we're gonna add in our fish sauce. And we're gonna let it reduce until the liquid's gone, and it's gonna start secreting its own fat for its own oil. If you don't wanna do this, you can just strain this right now and then deep frying them in oil. But I like doing it my way because you're just trying to render out the fat that's already inside the intestine. So my camera ran out of battery, so you didn't get to see when it dried up, when it ran out of liquid. Anyways, I did not add liquid here. These are the fat that's coming from the intestine. So as you can see, you don't really need to add oil, but it's up to you. If you want to use more oil to deep fry this, you can do that. Most people prefer this really crunchy. That means you have to really fry them for a very long time. Personally, I like it to still have that texture. To have that chewy texture. I'm not gonna completely fry them to a crisp. Also, if you're doing like this and you change your mind later on, you can always just air fry them until nice and crispy. That's what I usually do. Also, it helps because when you air fry them later on, after you're done cooking, it makes it crispy and it also drains out the fat. So we're gonna continue doing this until you achieve the crunchiness you prefer. And technically, we're just frying them until nice and brown. As you see, it's coming along nicely. They're starting to turn brown. Make sure you constantly stir them around so that it doesn't burn. That's the reason why we also have the skin on the garlic, so that they don't burn. And if you see the garlic starting to burn, just pull them out so that they don't get totally burned, because it's going to get bitter. So this is going to be quite a while until this is nice and crispy. As you can see, they are nice and golden brown. Starting to look good. So I already removed the garlic because I don't want them to burn. We want to keep them longer so it's nice and crunchy, but pretty much, as you see, what I'm trying to do is I'm cooking them in their own fat. I don't have to add in some oil. Also, if you want to leave yours chewy, like me, I prefer them chewy because I like the parts inside. This is actually perfect. You can just remove them. Also, when you're removing them, make sure to place it over a strainer so that the fat will still drain. Keep in mind, these are all saturated fat that it's cooking on. So make sure you have like a bowl and a strainer on it, and just place that on top of a strainer. Alright, so these are done. Again, you can cook it longer so it's nice and crunchy, but for us this is perfect. So make sure you strain these. Place it over a strainer, turn off the heat. And again, if you want more crunchy, you can still continue frying it, or what I usually do is I put it in an air fryer. You see all that fat that came out of it? So this is not really this is one of the unhealthy dish that we ever made, but it's so good. Alright, so there's our chicharon. We'll let it cool and then we'll cook. We'll plate it later.